Tommy Robinson is currently serving 18 months in prison for something laughable. We already know how messed up the British justice system, but that is no news. Today, we have some massive news on Tommy Robinson as a giant twist has emerged. In today's video, we will discuss this in detail, whilst also going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we have new Make Britain Great, again t-shirts available on our store. Go grab them now. They are available at britishstand.com or check the link in the description. I'll be the first to admit that the Reform Party isn't perfect. It's not a magic solution, nor is it without its faults. Like anything new and ambitious, it has its challenges, and we'd be naive to ignore that. But what's undeniable is that it's here, it's willing, and it's actively trying to address the real issues we're facing as a nation. And in times like these, isn't that what we need? A movement that's willing to step up, even if the path ahead is difficult. There has been a huge divide in recent months, following the riots between Tommy Robinson, his supporters, and Nigel Farage, and the Reform Party. I mean, just have a refresher of the feud.
As a result of the riots, and left and right commentators, Conservatives, Labour, saying that I was inciting the riots, as if somehow, I was linked with the Tommy Robinson wing of politics. And I genuinely believe in my case that what's been said by some national broadcasters literally is insightful. Well, here, it's a whole lot worse than that.
In Britain, we've heard...
Tommy Robinson, people have been protesting in his name. What do you make of Tommy Robinson? Is he a good guy in your eyes?
No, all of that lot, we have nothing to do with them.
Even the protesters who have got banners up saying two-tier Keir, you agree with them on the policing and justice?
We agree with ourselves. I'm not aligning ourselves with Tommy Robinson's lot in any shape or form.
But tell me...
One of my thoughts before people want to say I'm causing divisions. I've had to stand and watch. I currently face 4 years in prison. I face a counter-terrorism charge. I've had to sit and watch as Nigel has lied to people on TV about these cases. He's told, in fact, he's not even mentioned the film that I faced 4 years for. He presents on TV. He's got a multi-million-pound contract to be a presenter. He's meant to be alternative. He's not opened his mouth on a documentary that's been watched by 51 million people of you. 51 million of you. He's not opened his mouth. Because Nigel never opens his mouth about difficult things. That's the reality. Yeah? That's the reality. So Nigel, when I was detained under counter-terrorism, which I was, I'm going to share a link. I'm going to quote tweet this. Nigel went on and said I wasn't. He said I wasn't. That I made it up. That I lied. In an interview, that's what he said. Do you know how frustrating that is? Do you know how frustrating it is when you've got all these problems thrown at you, and then you watch someone who's meant to be, like I don't mind if Nigel don't want to talk about it, but to continually kick us, to paint me as instigating the riots. He shared fake news. He shared that it was a Syrian refugee. He did. And then to try and kick it away, he kicks us. He doesn't just kick me. He kicks everyone.
However, a giant twist has emerged, as a message has come out from Tommy Robinson in prison. Paul Thorpe made a visit and Robinson has said to him, his message was clear. He's asking us, not just individuals, but the wider movement, not to turn our backs on Reform or Nigel Farage, at least for now. Tommy strongly believes that the bigger picture, our country's future, is far more significant than any personal differences or disagreements. If we want to win back control in the next general election, there needs to be reconciliation. We must unite behind reform, see the broader vision, and recognise that there's so much more at stake than individual egos or ideologies. Following this, Tommy Robinson official admin team reposted this tweet. It's not about perfection. It's about taking the opportunity in front of us and backing the effort to bring real change. Reform might not have all the answers, but it's here, it's now, and it deserves the chance to try and fix what's broken. What are your thoughts on this, and do you back reform? Let me know in the comments. In other news, an extra 100,000 workers have been dragged into the 60% tax trap over the past year, according to new figures from HM Revenue and Customs. The latest data shows 885,000 people are now losing their full personal allowance after earning over £100,000 in the 2024-25 tax year. A further 591,000 workers are seeing their tax-free allowance partially reduced. The sharp rise comes as more employees find themselves caught by frozen tax thresholds, with the number of affected taxpayers jumping 18% from 537,000 in the previous year. The tax squeeze is set to intensify, with HMRC projecting over 1 million people will be impacted by 2027 to 28. The punitive tax trap kicks in when workers earn over £100,000, at which point their personal allowance, currently frozen at £12,570, begins to taper away. For every £2 earned above the £100,000 threshold, £1 of the tax-free allowance is removed. Sean McCann, Chartered Financial Planner at NFU Mutual, said, "If you're earning more than £100,000, it does come with quite a tax sting as you face a 60% tax on those earnings. When combined with national insurance of 2%, workers keep just £38 of every £100 earned within this band." Some 337,000 taxpayers were affected in 2018 to 19, according to HMRC figures released under Freedom of Information rules. Mark Incledon, Chief Executive of Bowmore Financial Planning, said, "The number of taxpayers falling victim to this notorious tax trap was already incredibly large. Recent wage inflation has pushed almost 100,000 more into this position. The Office for Budget Responsibility estimates an additional 8 million taxpayers will be pushed into higher rate tax due to frozen thresholds. The surge in affected taxpayers is largely driven by fiscal drag, where tax thresholds remain static while wages rise with inflation." McCann explained that if the £100,000 threshold had risen with inflation, it would now be worth £149,000. Fiscal drag is a great way to raise more revenue while sticking to Labour's promise of not increasing tax rates, he said. Strategies to avoid the 60% tax trap. Minimising the 60% tax impact requires careful planning around income and tax relief opportunities. McCann pointed out that taxpayers can make use of salary sacrifice and charitable giving. He said, "Salary sacrifice can be a very tax-efficient way to save. An employee with earnings of £125,140 who sacrificed £25,140 in return for an employer pension contribution of the same amount would see £25,140 going into their pension at a cost to them of £9,554. This would save the employee £15,084 in income tax, paid at 60%, plus 2% in NICs, £502. However, potential changes to employer NICs on pension contributions could make such arrangements less attractive in future," McCann explained. Donations to eligible charities can also qualify for tax relief, effectively reducing their taxable income. Some may also try and time bonuses and dividend payments. For instance, delaying a bonus to the following tax year could prevent it from pushing their current year's income over £100,000, thereby avoiding the 60% tax trap. A Treasury spokesman said, "We are committed to keeping taxes low for working people, which is why we protected payslists from tax rises and are not extending the freeze on personal tax thresholds past 2027/28. However, Chancellor Rachel Reeves did nothing to ease the burden in her October budget. Instead, she extended the freeze on thresholds introduced by ex-Chancellor Jeremy Hunt in 2021 until April 2028. Incledon said, "It's very surprising the government chose to not address this in the latest budget. Rather than trying to fix the problem, the government has allowed it to get bigger. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye."